Lenihan for Boxing Social in association with William Hill and Empire Fight Store. Delighted to be joined by the Juggernaut. We're here in Las Vegas. You're in the camp for Zhilei Zhang round 2. How are you feeling, Joe? Good spirits, ready to rock and roll?
Delightful, actually. It's a splendid time I'm having in Vegas. Sunny Vegas. It's like 47 degrees was the max since I've been here. Yeah. So, but yeah, other than that, all good. Training the UFC as usual and Salas Boxing Academy. Putting in the work, the hard graft, and practicing my skills that I need to beat Zhang. And yeah, still got another 5-6 weeks here left or something, so plenty of time to keep the ball rolling and get bigger, stronger, and better. And my weight's good, so yeah, I'm coming to knock him out and get back what's mine.
How much does that defeat sort of lit that fire in you to say, you know what, I had a bad night, but I'm going to run that back and make sure that the same, that doesn't happen again? How much does that sort of lit that fire in you?
Yeah, it's tough to take on the night because I thought I'd cruise through to a victory, and he really surprised me with like his speed and accuracy. And yeah, it's just unfortunate that I swelled up because I was started to get in the fight a little bit more as the rounds went on, and I need to get back this. The position that I was in is a big risk, but for no reward. I just lost my WBO position, and like when the mandatories get called, I need to get back in time because Dubois, who I've already beat, is having a shot at pop at Usyk first, and then IBF is like Philip Hergovic, whether that's going to happen, and then obviously the WBO is the next shot. So if I get back in time, then I can face the winner and finally become world champion.
Does that annoy you a little bit that you're obviously someone, you've not rested on your laurels? You're fighting guys like Joseph Parker, who was with a new trainer and was expected to do good things. You then bounce into a fight with Zhilei Zhang, and then you see a guy you've already beat getting a shot at Oleksandr Usyk. Does that annoy you a little bit?
There's nothing surprising in boxing, especially heavyweight boxing. You seem to think some fights are going to take place and they don't, and it just has to be on the ball really, and I just need to be the best version of myself and keep marching on.
Did you underestimate him in the first round? I know you just mentioned there you thought you'd cruise to a victory, but did you take him lightly in build-up? Was the preparation as good as it could have been?
It wasn't as good as it could have been. It can always be better, and I wasn't surprised at all by him, but it was because I knew he was a good fighter. Coming off a silver medal, and he's had he's kind of been avoided because he's a tricky fighter, southpaw, good counter puncher, and I gave him an opportunity and he took it. So it's about getting it back and getting back in there and grabbing back what's mine.
What do you have to do differently in there from your point of view? Obviously you're in there, we all know you'd happily take the punches all night kind of thing to get through to the end, but a lot of people were asking about the preparation and saying, have you had enough southpaw sparring and things like that? What do you have to do differently, and what are you doing differently in this camp to prepare?
Well, it's a professional camp, so I did have southpaw sparring, but this is the second camp where I'm going to work in on the southpaw style, so it's going to give me a bit more preparation, whereas before Zhang kind of had the advantage because he's used to fighting orthodox fighters. I haven't really fought that many southpaws in my whole career, but I mean, it's kind of second nature for him, so it's just about getting a bit more practice and coming back in and give it another go and getting back what's mine.
No one can ever question your willpower and the fact that you do take on the challenges. I think your record up to that point was incredible for in terms of number of fights. Your resume itself sort of spoke for itself. What happens in this rematch? Do you go out there and do you take this guy out? What happens in your heart of hearts? How do you win this fight?
By any means possible, because like I need to find a way, because otherwise it's a long route back round, like the scenic route, and I prefer to go direct because I haven't got that much time, and just unfortunate, and maybe a learning blessing in disguise, or a learning it's like a life lesson that I've had to go through.
Have you contemplated what another loss would do for you? I know you mentioned there it's a long road back, and I'm sure as a fighter you don't allow these sorts of things in your mind too much, but obviously because you had that defeat in the last fight, have you thought, you know what, the pressure is sort of on this one, because if not, you do mention it is a hard road back, and no one's really going to be wanting to take you on unless they're getting paid a hell of a lot of money kind of thing. You had that sort of carrot with the ranking position that you had before, so the pressure's really on for this fight.
The pressure was on for last fight because the bookies had me as favourite, and everyone was blowing smoke up my arse, like talking about the next fight. So, it's natural. And I've got such a granite chin. I'm so hard, and then I just found out the hard way that lost the fight. So it's about getting that back and proving what I'm made of.
Let me ask about a former opponent. Daniel Dubois is going against Oleksandr Usyk very soon. What do you make of that fight? Do you give Daniel a chance in that fight? A lot of people are writing him off.
Yeah, well, he's got a puncher's chance, and he's got a big punch. It's just a matter of if he can land it. Now, I've seen the fight with Gassiev, for example. He's a big puncher, but if you can't lay a glove on him on Usyk, then you're in for a tough night and frustrating night. But I don't know. Daniel's young, and let's see what happens.
We're seeing, obviously, we've got this Anthony Joshua, Dillian Whyte fight happening. There's Fury and Ngannou happening. It's a bit of a mad ride for the heavyweight division to the back end of this year. Providing you get past Zhilei Zhang, I know you won't be looking past him, but what's next? What's the sort of road path?
I don't know. There's that road path. Like you mentioned, Joshua and Dillian Whyte. That's a good fight. That's a great fight. I'm looking forward to see that fight, because I was at the first one, and that was I think I was at the first one. I definitely watched it, and that was a great fight. And I thought, they both kind of like brought some entertainment in the build up and also in the fight. So
who wins?
I'm not sure. I think I don't know.
Is it a 50-50 fight, that one, because of how they both performed in the last in the fights before against you, Jermaine Franklin's? They both, admittedly didn't perform the best. A lot of people said Dillian actually lost that fight. What do you make of this fight coming in?
I think styles make fights, and I think if probably Josh is going to keep it at range, and it's about Dillian getting inside and hurting him. And then it's going to be, but they're both going to get fired up, and I think, I don't know. Well, I'm just looking forward to seeing, what the outcome of that fight is. I think it's a great fight, and I think it's good for both of them at this stage.
Fury and Ngannou, quick thoughts on that? It's not, I suppose, the fight everyone was wanting to see. I think everyone before the Usyk Dubois fight got made was hoping we would see a fight for Undisputed. What do you make of Tyson Fury? Do you blame him for taking the big money in Saudi? Do you think he's at fault for the Usyk fight not happening? What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think he could have, that was he's saying he's a middleweight and all this, but then he didn't actually fight him, and he's gone. But fair enough, he's given Ngannou a payday, which is nice for Ngannou. But
himself a big one.
and he's got a few quid as well. But I mean, he's going to earn a few. He's going to earn a few quid whoever he fights. So I personally wanted to see the Undisputed fight, and I was a little disappointed with not seeing that, because then it'd make things all clearer, and there hasn't really been a Undisputed fight for I don't know how long, because I'm not into the boxing history. I don't really watch boxing. I do sometimes, but I prefer doing it and enjoying it, being in the ring myself instead of what. But yeah, you see the lighter weights doing it, and Yeah, I think, you know, now that I don't have my O anymore, that I'm willing to fight anyone. So I think, you know, people kind of protect that a lot these days, especially.
100%. I know you just said you're not a big boxing fan and you don't watch it, but we are here in Las Vegas and it is one of the biggest fights in boxing. Errol Spence, Terence Crawford. Do you have an opinion on that? You be going to the fight?
Yeah. I think we're going to the fight. I think Crawford, just because I've seen him fight and I've met him in person, I'm going with him. But I haven't really, you know, this is just my, I don't know. There you go.
Yeah.
That's my prediction.
All right, no worries. Look, Joe, have you got a message for the fans, the ones who are behind you, the ones who stuck with you after taking that loss, and have you got a message for them?
Just thanks you for, you know, following me and my support, like coming to watch my fights and that. I really appreciate it. And yeah, let's see if we can beat Zhang and finally become heavyweight champion.
Well, look, Joe, it's an absolute pleasure. It's always good to speak to you. We wish you all the best in this rematch, and you know, hopefully you have a successful training camp out here.
Thank you very much.